Hi everyone, I'm Eliza. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm a second year master's student in the program. I also work as the graduate assistant in the higher education office. This office that I work with these folks here. And I just finished up my practicum at Lemoyne in their higher education opportunity program, or HEOP program. The semester is officially over, which feels very good. Finished it off on Monday with an assignment from Cathy, so thank you, Cathy, for that. I also want to say I know that COVID has taken a bit away from us and it's been really stressful and hard, but having these mini information sessions has been really great. We get to talk to people before open house, before the application process, and it's been exciting, hopefully helpful for all of you. Right now, I'm going to have my colleagues introduce themselves. I will call out on each of you, and then we're going to ask them all some questions. We also have Cathy and Pam here today, which they'll introduce themselves. If at any point you have a question, please feel free to utilize the raise your hand function or use the chat. I'm going to be monitoring the chat as well as David. And before we start, I want to let you guys know that I am going to be recording this session for those that couldn't make it today. So you're welcome to turn off your camera or post comments and questions in the chat if you are more comfortable doing that. Today we're going to focus primarily on the application process for the program and the way in which our GA positions are filled. And we are going to start with our grad students. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm from Buffalo. Go Bills. That's why I love the Bills so much, because born and raised. I forgot to say where I was from. But grad students, please say your name, pronouns, you're in the program, your current position, and if you have a fun fact, go nuts. We are going to start with Adam.
Spicy. Hello, friends. My name is Adam. My pronouns are they, them, and he, him. I use them interchangeably. I'm a first year in the higher ed cohort, and I serve as the graduate assistant in student centers and programming services, SCPS here. Fun fact about me, I love coffee. I love coffee shops. I love cafes. They're super cute and fun, and I miss doing work in them because of COVID. But yeah, just a little fun fact.
Thank you, Adam. Ella, go ahead.
I was going to reply in the chat that's when you know y'all hang out a lot, when you're saying the same things about like puns and stuff. Hi, everyone. I am Ella Perkins. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm from New York City. I have my GA in health promotion as outreach coordinator position. And fun fact about me is that I used to dance a lot, and our Chinese dance would go and perform at Nick's halftime games during Asian Heritage Month.
Fun. Thank you so much. Cathy is already unmuted, so I'm going to have her go first.
That was good. I didn't even know I was unmuted. Well, first, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you taking out this time. We know that you're probably finishing up some things too, so thank you. We hope this is helpful. My name is Cathy Engstrom, and my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a faculty member. And before I was a faculty member, I was a professional in student affairs, finishing up as my last position in student affairs was at Virginia Tech, Associate Dean of Students, but I was at University of Maryland, University of California, Davis, University of Vermont. So, but I've been settled in Syracuse. The biggest shock in our lives are how much we love Syracuse. So who knows, maybe you too will become situated. So it's been a great place we have great students who keep me young and engaged, and I have the privilege of learning from every single day, two of whom are three of them who are with us right now. So I appreciate that, despite Eliza's irritating the Bills. Let me give you a fun fact in the holiday. He had started for them, and it published 2 days before there was a whole song singer, I don't know what they're called, the Writers Guild, or went on strike. How did I do, Eliza?
That was a really good fun fact. Tis the season, I guess.
Okay. So my name's Pam Peter, and I am currently, and you'll know why I say that, the Assistant Dean of Fraternity and Sorority Affairs. I've been at Syracuse University for my 20th year. I was the Assistant Dean and Director of the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities, and I was Assistant Director in what used to be the Office of Residence Life. I'm originally from New Jersey. Let's see. You also should know that I supervise graduate assistants. I supervise practicum students when we get practicum students from the higher ed program. And I am a part-time faculty member in the higher education program. I teach legal issues in higher education. Love it, love it, love it. I think personally, it's a terrific class. Ella, you're about to find out. You too, Eliza, it's going to be a great class. So I have a lot of connections to the higher ed program. And I will say that my fun fact is in a minute, you're all going to meet Dr. David Perez. You should all know that when Dr. David Perez had his first full-time job in student affairs, I was his direct supervisor. So all of the good things that he knows about student affairs, guess where he learned that stuff from? Oh, that's right, me! And all the negative, bad stuff, whatever. I tried to work it out, but he wasn't listening. So David and I, we go way back. And then I should also say that I went to a competitor institution for my first master's degree. David got his PhD from that same competitor institution. Look at who is following me around. Just want to say. Thanks.
Wow, David. What are you going to do next? Because Pam is still here. Are you just going to stay here forever?
I don't even need an introduction. Hi, all. My name is David Perez. I'm an associate professor in the higher education program. I'm also the coordinator for our master's program. I, like Cathy, have practiced in the field. Started as an undergraduate professional as a resident assistant at Vanderbilt University. In 2001, became a residence director. And I was going to say my fun fact was Pam Peter was my supervisor. And we still look the same. 20 years later, we still look the same. But Pam Peter was my supervisor here. And then I moved on to NYU and then pursued my doctorate at Penn State. I will say that it's very exciting to be back at I always refer to SU as my professional alma mater. This has always been a very special place to me. And it continues to be so. So welcome. I'm not going to say a whole lot. I'm going to hang out in the chat. You're in the enrollment and student experience. So welcome.
Yes. Thank you all for those introductions. And David says that he's not going to say much, but the next part, I believe, are some questions from David.
How about I try? Oh,
for the poll everywhere question.
Yeah.
Yes. David's favorite thing in the entire world, while he pulls that up, is poll everywhere. If you take a class with David in the future, which if you come here you will get very accustomed to poll everywhere. I cannot type in the word David without it auto-correcting to David Perez II984, and I have the number memorized because we use it so frequently. But these poll questions are just to kind of get a feeling of where everyone's at as far as physically, are you on the East Coast? Maybe you're on the West Coast. Maybe you're in Australia. I don't know your life. And also where you're at as far as preparing for applying to grad school. Now, we wait for David.
Sorry, I'm trying to access it. I'm having trouble. Why today am I having trouble with this?
It would be today, but That's all right. We roll with the punches, you know? This is what it's like being in virtual school.
Okay, let's see.
I don't think David has sharing privileges. Hang on. Oops. Now he does. So he can't get mad. If it doesn't work, we can ask in the chat.
No, I have it. It's like, why is this? It's just poll everywhere is being difficult with me right now. Okay, here we go. Full screen. Okay. Share. Can y'all see this?
Yes.
Yeah, so, and this is just to give us a sense of like the temperature in the room. So if you want to describe how you're feeling about the process of applying to grad school in one word, if you have two words, add a hyphen or put a period to connect them so it doesn't parse out your word. And again, you can respond from you can text it. So if you dial 22333 and then text David Perez II984, that'll get you in. Or you can go on your computer to poev.com/David Perez II984. Hopeful, love it. Excited. Oh, good. Lots of excitement.
Yay.
And it's okay if folks are nervous. I know for me, I was super nervous. So stressed out. Oh, yes. Great. I'm so excited that you're stressed out about statement of purpose because we're going to talk about that today. We're going to de-stress. Woosah. Woosah. We're going to woosah. And that's okay. You would not be the first person that was stressed out about writing a statement of purpose. Know that faculty and supervisors, Cathy, Pam, and I have always, sometimes we get stressed out about writing. We want to write the most compelling letter of recommendation for folks. So you're not alone. So it seems like folks are lots of excitement, which is great. A little stressed out, but hopeful, which is good. I'm going to switch poll really quick. Hold on. There we go. So we're always curious to see where folks are coming from. One of the things that you should know about our program is that we recruit nationally. So we have students from all over. So I see some West Coast, East Coast, Midwest. Sweet. The South. Cool.
I think that's a little more variety than...
Mm-hmm.
How fun.
Cool. Well, welcome. I'm going to skip over this one for a second. We can actually process this, but one thing you should know is that you would be entering a community. So while we have a pretty thriving graduate student, very just graduating organization called ESAPS, Emerging Student Affairs Centers, Eliza is a part of, and others on the panel who are involved with, but who organize all kinds of events. So I just want you to imagine if you were here, if you're admitted to the program and you accept our invitation and you're here next year and they were hosting an event, what would you be interested in? What kinds of events would you be interested in doing? And there are lots of things to do in the area. Beautiful state parks. Just lots of snow and non-snow related activities. And I actually will share this information, not your particular, but just for folks on ESAP, so they'll know like, hey, there's a lot of interest in doing artistic stuff, or there's a lot of interest in. Cool. And then we'll just do maybe one more quick poll. Because it's not New York City, but it is New York State. Or actually, no, correction, two more. So this next one, just trying to get a sense of like where folks are interested. So folks who are interested in multicultural affairs, advising, student activities. One of the things that I really love about our program is one, the range of graduate sort of assistantship opportunities that one has and how those span across the institution. But I would also say our practicum offerings are really, really amazing. And I've worked at I was a faculty member at another institution. And one of the things that I would say, like, I really appreciate about being at Syracuse is that our practicum opportunities they also span across the university, but they also are involved with neighboring institutions. So we have students that also get the opportunity to work at or get some professional experience in other institutional contexts. So working at a Jesuit institution or a medical center or a community college, which is, I think, really, really cool. And folks can talk about that. There may be questions related to that later. So never mind. That was the same poll. Let me exit that. So let me just say, let me stop share. One is just thank you for just giving us a sense of like where folks are from, where your interests lie. But having said that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Eliza and the panel to talk with you more about the process of navigating the grad app process.
Thank you, David. Yeah, my personal favorite poll is where everyone calls home, because we have such a wide variety of where everyone comes from. Like, we have a few people from California in our cohort, and I live like 2.5 hours down the road, which is kind of boring in hindsight, but I love it. So our first question, and this is for faculty, staff, and students. Particularly for faculty and staff, what are some qualities you're looking for in graduate students? And then for our students, what are some qualities that you're looking for in cohort members? Yeah, and we'll start with Adam. We'll go in the same order. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No worries. I had my answer planned. I'm prepared. I would love to see folks entering the cohort who are down to have like good times, fun times, and like cool times. I don't know. For me personally, I was pretty stressed at the grad process because I was worried like grad school is like pretty scary. It's pretty intimidating. It sounds super businessy. And then I actually get into the cohort and I'm like chilling with all my friends here, and it's not like just like professional business. It's like really fun and fluffy, and like everybody on marshmallows here. I don't know. I love them a whole lot, and so I'd love to see like more students kind of enter the cohort who have that that recognition that like, yeah, this is also a place for me to like bond and to like have a good time. And, these 2 years are going to be a fun 2 years. So I'd love to see y'all, join us in that.
Ella, anything to add to that?
So when I was looking, I had actually deferred a year and took a year to focus on professional development and just spending some time at home with family. So when I came back, I was looking and hoping for that there were other folks like me who had taken some time to develop professionally. And we were able to connect. There's 3 of us who had taken some time off and had then come back for our graduate program endeavors. And then also within the group, looking to find other folks who are not necessarily in relationships, but just like, I think myself, Eliza, and Devlin, who's another person in our cohort, had bonded because we had partnerships outside of and relationships with other folks who weren't in the program. So being able to like connect on that, living with someone else who isn't just a roommate in your life, and being able to talk to one another there. So just being open. I mean, I think Adam said it all, but once you get to know everyone in the cohort and get to find some people that you're able to talk to outside of class, it's kind of great.
I agree. Yeah. And a lot of our relationships were, at least for me, were because of different groups we were put in. So Ella and I became close because we had a project in Cathy's class our first semester, and then Ella had already had connections to a couple other people, and so that's how Ella and I kind of got close. So Thank you, Cathy, for giving me a friend. Cathy and Pam, would you two like to add on?
Well, Cathy's not gonna. So this is what I'm gonna say. I think that graduate school does things, right? It does many things, but I think two of the top things it does is it prepares you for whatever it is, that job that you think that you want to get. Like, it gives you the knowledge that you need and some practical experience to have the skills that will help you get the job that you want. It also helps you figure out all the things that you may not want to do, right? There's good things that happen in that. And so for me, especially because my class is in the last semester for many students who are on the cusp of graduating, is the desire to go the distance, regardless of your plan for professional circumstance. Right? What I like most about teaching the class is the engagement with student learning. We read things that are interesting, that can be pulled apart and talked about. So engagement in your own learning, reading the articles, reading books, whatever it is, and participating in the discussion, not only is that worthwhile for you personally, but it also provides benefit to the rest of the people in the room and to myself. Like, one of the things I think about teaching is that I get as much from the students as I give. And so going the distance to the very last day, wanting to learn, participating and wanting to participate is, to me, like one of the top things to find in our students.
Kudos. I mean, I sort of agree with everything that has been shared. As a group, like if I think of a cohort group, certainly I look for bringing in as diverse of experience as possible, whether it be students' background, race, ethnicity, educational background, where they are geographically, their own personal interests, their past experiences, their professional experiences. And I think Ella and Adam and Pam all alluded to how that really then creates an incredibly fertile laboratory for us to learn from one another. And we are really, I think we do really well in that regard as a program. I think that's an incredible strength that we bring, and why it makes this work and our students so exciting. Specifically in terms of individual students, we really are, my biases, I really look for students that are passionate about supporting students, that their love is not to reproduce their undergraduate experience for themselves, but how do I take what I learned and what I got really from my undergraduate experience to create really successful, supportive environments, to really challenge those policies or practices that might get in the way of that they see themselves, that you see yourselves as become the ambassadors, the advocates for future students. So I really love those students who see, okay, I'm ready to shift from being the student leader that ran the institution, or I thought I did, but we soon learn out you didn't really, to now I'm in a position to provide those experiences and supports for the students coming after me. And I'm also looking for those students that are really committed to issues of equity and social justice. And now maybe we're all struggling with how we do that, but that they really see that we're here to take advantage of learning from other people's experiences. But what's my role? What's my responsibility to make a difference in really hindering and preventing some of those longstanding systemic issues that got in the way of student success. So we really shift on how do we really highlight the assets that students bring, and how do our systems really provide those opportunities. Then I also, I do have my list, like Adam, came prepared. The final thing I'll bring up is I'm looking for students, and this is kind of weird, that look for breadth, that they want to learn, and that they see and take advantage. They're sponges, that they see they can learn from that peer in the classroom. They see they can learn from David. They see they learn from the practicum supervisor. And sometimes learning means they learn from their mistakes and they can own it and they recognize it and they move from that, as opposed to being stuck in their learning and looking for information that just reinforces what they already know. And that they're a sort of a sponge to what we can provide and how we do that. So I'll stop there. As my students know, if you let me go and I just won't stop, so I'll stop.
No, Cathy, never, never. I think I've insulted you enough, so I won't add on anything today. Thank you guys so much for all a nice group as far as what everyone has had today. What advice would you when it comes to crafting a strong personal statement? So to whomever it was that was stressed out about personal statement, this part is for you. And we can go backwards if you all want today, unless Adam also is prepared for this question as well.
We can spice it up. Cathy, you want to go first this time?
Okay, I will note that both of our students, all our participants here did very good personal statements, so I think they can refer to their own. Just a couple hints I would suggest. One is I would keep in mind, this is a personal statement for an academic program, which is different than a personal statement or writing a cover letter for so some statements. I've done this to prepare them. Those are more for when you're those potential GA sites. What we offer as an academic program is if you go to.
Thank you. Sorry, my computer is making that really noise, so it's a little behind. Pam?
I believe that Cathy said it all, and I'm good.
All right. We're going to go over to Ella then.
Cathy did say a lot of great things. So, I mean, to what Cathy wrote, I, in my undergrad, was bio, pre-dental, and Chinese studies. And that bio really shook my world. And that's why, one of the reasons why I did not in that area. But I talked a little bit about what happened when I was taking those classes, my drive for that, and what then led me to higher education. And that passion side of it. And I think, interestingly enough, talking to some of my fellow cohort mates, we all had science passions that had further developed into higher ed passion. So talking about that, I think it's definitely something that, if that feels natural for you to talk about, definitely. But I think like feeling natural, feeling organic to who you are in a paper, if you're able to show a little more of your personality, I think that really helps. And I think a lot of people, I took that statement as like if someone's saying, hi, how are you about yourself in an interview, and you're almost elevator pitch extended. And I actually wrote mine on my cell phone as like a notes thing in iPhones, where I was just like talking about myself, word vomiting like a text, as if I was telling like a friend about myself and why I'm interested in this, and then took that to Word and went formal-ish. But that's a tip that I have. I like using notes to like brainstorm and to create things, because I think we're often on our phone, so it might be less of a scary space to start.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Yes, great content that's already been shared. A little bit to add on to what's already been shared, I'd say don't be afraid to seek out help, I think, when crafting your personal statement. I know that something that was really intimidating for me. It was like, I don't know what to do for my personal statement. What am I supposed to write about here? What's this going to be? How does this differentiate from like applying for GA positions and stuff like that? And like faculty and staff at my undergrad were super helpful in terms of like orienting me in terms of like, it might be more helpful for you to talk about, like Cathy was talking about academics and like this academic personal statement. And then when it comes to GA specific things, you could talk more about student experiences, right? And leadership experiences there and your passions for that specific functional area. And so I definitely think like talking with your professors and your staffs, your advisors, your mentors, et cetera, in terms of helping you orient your content, but then also like help you brainstorm and think of things to include in general. If you're kind of like at a block right now, I know writer's block comes at the most inconvenient of times usually. So like if that's the case, it's always nice to play some brainstorm ping pong, I think.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Also, just a friendly reminder, if you do have any questions, set time for you all to ask questions for graduates. And I'm going to start this one off because I think the experience Ella and I versus the experience Adam had and this experience you all will have is going to be different, because at the time when Ella and I applied, we had to apply to each graduate assistantship individually. And while that's great because you can see each office, I personally only applied for offices that I knew that I would be interested in. And if I could go back and change it, I without a doubt would, because I see people working in, and I would have loved to work there, but I didn't truly understand what was going to be going on in the office. And so I didn't let it stay on my radar. And did that work out the best for me? Not really. My first year, I did not have a graduate assistantship. This year I do, which is really great. It's been really fun. But applying and making sure that you kind of give yourself openness to, or similar to what Cathy said earlier, giving yourself the opportunity to do new things. Yes. Adam, go ahead.
Before I go, there is a question in the chat. Do you want to address that now, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, I can address that really quick. So someone asked if there will be an open house for assistantships in the program. We will have an open house March 8th through the 10th. It will be virtual because of the ongoing pandemic and that whole thing. And that is also when interviews for assistantships will take place. Yes, thank you, Adam.
Of course. Do that again. Yeah, I echo everything that Eliza just said. I similarly also was like, I'm only going to apply to the functional areas that I already have experience in, or that I'm like super passionate about. And I would say don't do that. I think it's always great to challenge yourself and to try and gain a lot of new experience, right? I think I limited myself because I didn't consider like transferable skills and like how to really take what I already experienced in undergrad and apply it to new functional areas and how to grow in these new functional areas. And so like definitely consider that. And I would also say one of the best things for me when applying for the GA positions was like being able to directly link like what I had experienced in undergrad, my leadership positions, all those fun things, and link it to like what I want to do in the future, and conveying that to the site supervisors for the graduate assistantships. And I don't know, I found that really enjoyable. And so like take a lot of like pleasure, like enjoy applying for the graduate assistantships. You're going to be working with these sites for like your 2 years here, if you get them right. And so like you need to have a lot of fun with that. I think you need to be able to take like what you're doing there and like thrive, live your best life with it. So I don't know. It's important to do like seriously, but also like don't let that stop you from not enjoying the process too.
Thank you. Ella, go ahead.
Thanks for unmuting me. Oh my goodness, I haven't had that happen to me before. So with the graduate assistantships, I clichely will say, I don't know if that's a word, I just made it up, trust the process. And I say this because I, coming in, also did not have a GA ship during my first year. And what I did instead was a graduate intern, which in my office is basically the same thing as a GA, but without the tuition portion and the title of the graduate assistantship. So I actually worked with a fellow cohort mate who had that GA position within our office. And so him and I were able to collaborate a lot and get a lot done, and which then led me to be able to have a GA ship this year. So I think that's a unique thing. So it doesn't always happen, but I think being able to work even within the university still, I was really looking to stay somewhere in a university office within Syracuse to be able to still put theory to practice, to be able to work with students in health promotion. It worked out well there because we have a student peer education group, but trust the process because there's a rhyme and a reason for where you get placed. And as Adam said, it might not necessarily be in a direct, like in your top choice, I guess, but where it will be, there's a reason for it. There's growth there. There's development areas that our staff or our administrators, faculty believe that you should be in that area. And where I am now, I didn't see myself being. And I definitely have learned so much in this area and am interested in like staying around in there. So it's going to happen for a reason.
Pam, would you like to go next?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I see that there is a question in the chat. I'm going to get there. So hang on there, Olivia. So you all will, the way we have our positions posted, it is one job description, multiple offices listed. So it's one posting with all of the available positions that we have. You're going to see in there that there are general requirements, and then some offices have some specific, requirements that they're looking for. When you write your cover letters, and understand, I will read them all, because that's what I do. Talk about your experiences that at minimum will touch on things that we are looking for. Right? You want to talk about, if you were the president of such and such organization as a student, what did you learn through that process? What skills do you bring to the table? You only have to write one letter. If you are interested in certain offices, it's okay to mention that office in your cover letter, but don't write it out in a way that cuts you off from any of the other positions. Say, I'm most interested in this, but I'm also would be interested in any of these other positions for these reasons, blah, 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 blah. Make sure that you, Cathy may not like that I say this, but I'm going to say it. Can you proofread a little bit? Just proofread a little bit, right? It doesn't need to be like, you don't have to look up all these words in the dictionary to think that you're going to, like, you can be plain spoken. It's just never a bad thing to practice some skills. If you have typos, it's not that you're not going to get an interview. Like, that's not going to stop you from getting interviews. It's just good practice. This is like a mentoring moment I'm having with you. It is good practice because someday you will be looking for a professional position, and people will look for that then. So it's not going to stop you from getting interviews. I just want you to think about practicing. Plus, it will help you in the grad program, because if you're in a graduate class, like, you're going to have to submit papers that are big. You're going to have to be able to write a little bit. So just practice. I don't know if, Cathy, I just made you mad, but I had to go down that road. Let's see. Olivia is asking about housing positions. So we have residential, we have what we call student living, but we don't have GA positions in the higher ed or in the housing office. Now, that doesn't mean, and Cathy, I could be wrong about this and you can correct me. That doesn't mean that at some point the higher ed program can't approach the housing office, or a student can't approach the housing office about creating a practicum experience in housing. Student living also has positions that are specific to operations of residence halls, and student living might be able to create what we would call in housing an operations practicum experience within student living. And so there are times in which we might not have at Syracuse University a specific GA position for a specific office, but I know that the higher ed program has worked with me to create practicum opportunities that allow students who might want to get some sort of experience, whether that is depth or breadth, to be able to get that position might feel. Hopefully I have that correct. We interviews virtually. I know that all of the GA supervisors, like, we talk about this, like, we love this. And the thing that you want to maximize your interview. And I say maximize because I'm in sorority affairs, but I see your resume and I'm like, oh my God. You meet with me, you're like, what? Maximize this opportunity because I'm also a practicum site supervisor. There could be something in our office that later on you're like, oh, I'd love to work on that. And we would interview you later for a practicum experience. Like, you want to make the most of the opportunity to build a relationship in the interview. Because even if you don't get offered that GA position, it could lead to some other opportunity later. When I started out in FASA, I had a woefully understaffed office. And I was able to work with Dawn to hire a second-year graduate student to work in our office. That provided her with a little bit of extra money, and it allowed her to get experience that helped her get a job later. So maximize those experiences. Let's see. I'm not going to answer. There's some other questions that I don't think I can answer. I'm going to let somebody answer those. But like GA supervisors, we love this. And we love interviewing and interacting with potential graduate students, whether we're going to hire them or not. Like, I know all of the students in the graduate program, whether they work in my office or not. We love this. So we hope that you're going to love it too. So.
Thank you, Pam. That was beautiful. Kathy, did you
want to? Just a few comments. I just want to also explain how the process works. Yeah. So it is up to the GA supervisors to decide who their GA will be. The faculty members were very involved in advocating on behalf of you, and often we may have interactions. We're trying to promote whatever attributes we think you have and assets. Sometimes we're better, or your references are better than promoting your own self. But ultimately, the decision rests with the GA supervisors, and every institution's different. You go to Ohio State, and the faculty decide there where the GAs are placed. You go to University of Maryland, College Park, there's no connection between the GA supervisors and the academic program. So every place is a little different, but it's very much a partnership in terms of giving input. But ultimately, the decision rests with the GA supervisors, and that makes sense because they're the supervisors. So, and I do want to just comment, I am chuckling at the three individuals, students who gave you advice about being open to different experiences, because they got consistently emails from me when they were applying to be open to different experiences. So I think that when ultimately it comes down to it, many students think their experiences are so unique, they don't have to follow that very good advice that those three students gave you. So let go, because I can promise you, and this will be probably the case in life, the quality often of your experience is who your supervisors are. And I can speak to very much that I never in a million years thought I would ever be in Greek life. That was one of the most enriching GAs I ever had at University of Maryland, College Park. I mean, I will admit, I don't remember how much more I remembered about Greek life, except some of the alphabet and better appreciation of their leadership. But I learned some other things and appreciation of how they fit and really kind of challenged some of my stereotypes if I hadn't been open to that. So really be open. The other thing I would share is, it seems like an inside joke, but to be more upfront, I mean, it seems kind of ironic that the faculty member, Pam's sort of insinuating that I don't care about typos. If you have any students that are in my classes, they will tell you I do care about typos. What I get upset about is when Pam will say that nobody, and this isn't just here, this is wherever job you apply for, anywhere, that we would never dismiss you because of typos. There are some people that will dismiss you. She's being kind, and I'm not saying here, it's anywhere. And yet my argument is, does a typo get in the way of you being effective, in helping a student group or advise a student group? I just don't think it's relevant. Those interpersonal skills you bring, those passion for students seem to me a lot more important. But Pam is absolutely right that the more you can get, and I think lots of eyes and ears. I always make mistakes because I just don't see it. I'm not tracking it. So have someone else look at it, because you just don't want that stuff that really I don't think matters, but could potentially matter. Control what you can control. And I think that's the important piece. And the last thing I say is we have great GAs. We have great GA supervisors. And we also have, David alluded to, great practicum experiences that give you, so if you don't get a GA, all of our students get positions. This last year, maybe not every single student because of the pandemic and then some geographic limitations, but normally our, rate in terms of getting and securing positions is 95 to 100% regularly, because they're open, because they get their breadth, not because they have a GA or not. Often many years, the ones who don't have GAs might be the first ones out of the first year, because we really are very good about intentionally grounded experience that makes sense. And watch our website, watch the information that David and Eliza send you about the positions that Pam talked about that are with partners outside the SU kind of network, or half-time positions, res life positions outside. Those come up regularly, and will keep you kind of, once you get admitted, then you're constantly updated about that information.
Yeah, and definitely keep an eye on those emails. And I'll also say, like, for my practicum this past semester, there was some changes in leadership at Lemoyne. When I was getting their positions, Cathy called me and she's like, we're not really sure what we're going to do with you yet. And I was like, okay, just find me somewhere. I just need the experience. And I ended up with the HEOP program, which I had never seen myself doing. And similar to Cathy with Greek life, it really challenged some biases, and I learned a lot about opportunity programs, and I absolutely love them. So keep yourself open. I think Ella had something she wanted to say, and then I'm going to go into the chat questions.
Two of the things that I thought of were because I was reading the chat, and to Olivia's question, there isn't grad positions with housing included as like free housing, if that's what you're like alluding to. The two people that I know in the program who are with student living, they have their separate house, like that never was gonna come with housing. There are full-time positions though, that someone in our cohort secured a residential director position at a neighboring institution where they got housing through that institution as a full-time position there, or part-time position there. But that doesn't happen at our place. At least I don't think so. And I don't think there's a plan for that. At least I don't think so. But I also don't know at all. Maybe Cathy or David or Kim. And then for, there's another one that I was looking at. Oh, are there students in the program that don't get assistantships? Myself and Eliza. And there was one other person too. So yes. And then you find other job opportunities to help pay for and cover the program. I had personally taken out some loans to help cover the first year, and you can make it work. And there's places in town that you can get jobs. There's places on Marshall Street, which has tons of stores. There are a lot of, at the same time that I didn't have an assistantship lined up, I was getting constant emails from Cathy, Dawn, and Carrie at the time, who had done a coordinator position, and she was sending us, or they were all sending me links to internship positions and to jobs that either were with the university or a neighboring university, but similar to a GA ship. So there are opportunities, and they're looking out for us.
And let me jump in to address, I think it was Olivia's question or someone's question about the 50% scholarship.
Yep.
That is for all graduate master's programs, so that if you look at basically the total bill, and I think it's about $1,700 per credit hour, and we're a 36-hour program, each year you would get potentially half of that off in a scholarship. You don't have to apply for it. It's automatic with your application and assistance. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much. I'm just looking at the chat. Someone had asked about classes for, I think right now, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's too early to say because of, how frequently things have been changing this past 6 months alone. I know that some states have gone back into lockdown. Some are on the cusp with different orange and yellow zones, like we have in New York State here, which is a mess in itself. So I believe that is still going to be TBD. We're still unsure about summer classes as well. We're not sure about Maymester. Hoping we can see Cathy in Maymester. And then someone also asked, I know that Ella mentioned it, are there many students in the program that don't get assistantships? It's mostly dependent on how many people are coming and going, and how big the cohort is. So like our cohort right now has 15, 20 people. Somewhere between 15 and 20. And we are all leaving this year because we are going to graduate, which is terrifying, but it's all good things. So there are quite a few graduate assistantships possibly opening up, and then with the pandemic and budget and everything, so it's dependent on quite a few things. But like Ella mentioned, I worked in retail. I worked at Manny's on the Hill, so if you're looking for some Syracuse gear, that's where I recommend, which was a lot of fun. I got to interact with a lot of students. It wasn't in higher ed, but it was nice to interact with people on campus. Pam mentioned something, for anyone that doesn't have access to the chat, Pam said that Greek houses will look for live-in house directors, and when those become available, she will let David know, so those can be forwarded on. And Greek experience and membership is not required. How large is the cohort typically? So like I said, my cohort is 15 to 20. That's the second year cohort. I think Adams is a little bit smaller, with around 15, like max.
Yeah, I think we're closer between 12 and 15 in my cohort, I think.
Yeah, between part and full-time. We counted the other day out of boredom, Ella and I. We were trying to figure that out. But I think for your main cohort, those are all the people that are full-time, is generally around 12 to 15, which is fun. Sorry that I'm kind of like flying through these. I know that it's already 1:00. Do you have any older students and career changers in your program? We do. We've got some married folks. A couple of our colleagues had babies this year, which was really exciting, but then the pandemic hit, so we never got to see the babies, which was big sad. I'm also seeing a message from David that he could answer a question that I already answered. Sorry, David, I didn't get that far. Oh, Adam's answering questions in the chat. Thank you so much. We are going to wrap up. I'm sorry for kind of doing like a rapid fire at the end there, but we had some great answers from our faculty, staff, and students. So thank you so much to all of our panelists. We have one more question. I'm going to throw it in there. Is it easy to complete the program part-time also? I cannot speak on that because I am full-time.
I'll just weigh in very quick. I can weigh in very quickly on this, but one of the things that I always provide students is sort of, and if you want, you can actually email me. I can send you a sort of guide that Cathy produced around the sort of proposed sort of course sequence for both full-time and part-time students. It's pretty laid out really well, so that you're making, we're trying to like make sure that you're making adequate progress in a timely manner to shorten the amount of time that you're here. So we do have it's something that I can share with you now, but it's also something we will review with students during orientation. So, yes, but happy to share that.
Yes.
And we also have about a third to a fourth to a third of our students do work full time, and they add great richness to the classroom. So we really value that. And they look at it, the cup half full, that they have a couple cohorts that they're attached to. But I try very hard to get them through in 3 years versus 2.
Yeah. And we also, Ella mentioned Devlin earlier. Devlin started this position as a graduate assistant, and they just loved her so much that they brought her in as a full-time staff. So she started as a full-time student, and she's going to be finishing the program as a part-timer. So, yes, Devlin is amazing. Isn't she wonderful? So as I mentioned, that's all the time we have today. Thank you again to our lovely panelists. You are so great. There is social media and website pages. I'm going to have David send the website. Our Instagram is I don't want to mess it up. I run the Instagram and I can never remember what it is. It's Syracuse UHED with no underscores or dashes or anything. It is very blue and orange. And in our bio on Instagram, we have a bunch of links with access to the website and upcoming events as well. Ella has put her email in the chat. I believe Adam was going to throw their email. Thank you, Adam, for the yes. Here is my email as well. David sent the link privately just to me. I'm the only one that gets to see the website. There it is. And like I said, social media, we try and post things there. And the email that I sent you all the link from is a great place to reach us, and David sometimes will respond to those from his personal email. Different things. So we anticipate posting GA positions by December 11th. That's today. Have they been posted? I want clarification.
So I'm going to check on that for you, because what seems to have happened is that the HR website won't remove postings to put up this year's postings, despite the fact that we submitted them a week ago.
Amazing.
So I'll double check with Denise, but I expect that they're up if they're not already up.
And we can send those out once we have the compiled. I can send that out to you all via email.
Yes. And then the deadline, your application. Wow. Graduate Assistant, January 11th of 2021. We are also going to be hosting February 12th as we prepare for the March open house. I'm also going to be sending you all a survey. We would love some feedback on this session because we love doing them. I love doing them. I love hanging out and talking to people. And I'm going to stick around for a couple minutes if anyone has any lingering question. If not, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a great break if you're going on break. I know I am going to take lots of naps. And yeah, we hope to see you all soon. Can we apply for grad assistantships before we receive our admissions decision?
I was just writing a response to that. No. So you're extended the offer of admission, and then at that point, because our assistantships are tied to the program. So
David, you can. You won't get a GA offer if you're not in a minute, but you can apply anytime.
Sure. Yeah. No, I thank you for clarifying that. That's what I was trying to convey. Yeah. So you can submit your materials, but just knowing that those are reserved for students who have been admitted to the program.
And then the website says January 15th deadline. Is it January 15th or January 11th?
I believe it's the 15th.
Oops. Sorry, everyone. It's the 15th. Approximately the turnaround on decisions.
It tends to be a few weeks on here, but on a daily basis. But until then, we're waiting right now, and we haven't had a break for a while, so it may not be as regular, but definitely once January hits the first of the year, we turn it over very quickly.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll just say is once you're admitted to the program, we do have a listserv that you'll be added to, so we'll send out some regular communications regarding grad apps. There may be something new. If another position pops up, we will disseminate that information. Great questions.
Yes, thank you all. So you can submit before January 15th. Yes, you should submit before January 15th to be.
The earlier the better.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Any final questions? I don't want to end it and then have people sad.
Great to meet you all, and good luck in the process. We look forward to seeing you in the profession.
Earliest you can submit is now. Do you mean application or graduate assistantship application?
You can submit your application. Yeah, so to that point, I'm not sure if what you're referring to, but if you're referring to your grad application to the program, you can submit that now. For the grad assistantship, it's just as soon as the posting goes up, you can apply. The posting we'll just confirm with Pam if that posting is up. So once that's available. But in the meantime, what I'll try to do is see if we can get the general description so that you all have access to that if you want to begin drafting. So we can work on that.
Yeah, I can send that to you later today. And I'm looking for the post. It's not up yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Eliza.
Thank you, Cathy. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, David. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Ella. Beautiful, wonderful.
This is super cute. This is great.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Eliza.
Thank you all.
See you all. Enjoy the winter break.
Thank
Bye.
you, you too.
Enjoy, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.